Well, all right. Thiago Silva has come out and stated that he has some issues with currently that's happening at Chelsea. Now, he's not putting the blame on just one thing. He's not saying it's the managers, it's the players, it's the board, it's everything that's been going on. And the big takeaway is that we have such a massive squad, which he again didn't state, and saying that we brought extra 8 players in during the January transfer window, which really is quite a bit when you look at it. Now, I understand when we were looking at the January window, when it originally happened, we were pretty excited with all these players coming in, but we did not fully understand the ramifications that was going to happen down the season, because with all these players, there meant that there could only be so many players starting each and every match. And also with the Champions League, it meant that some of these players were not going to be able to be registered, such as Aubameyang, Shield, which are 2 big players that I think they could have been very, very vital for us in the Champions League, especially Aubameyang, because we've been missing a striker. And therefore, again, as we saw yesterday in the Real Madrid game, that we could not find someone to find the back of the net. And that was a big issue, not just in the Real Madrid game, but pretty much this entire season. But having someone that's actually a number 9 or a striker like Aubameyang is someone that you can really rely on a little bit better than anyone else on this squad. Now, yes, I understand that Aubameyang's season hasn't been great either, but still to have a proper striker in that position who's going to be fed balls throughout the entire match, sooner or later, you'd think he would find the back net, but we couldn't even utilize him. Same thing with Shield. We could have used him in our defense as well, because we had to use Chalaba, who, again, I think did fairly well overall. Yes, there was a few errors, but still, Shield would have been the better route to go down. But again, it was very difficult for our management to decide who they were going to pick, because, again, you can only pick so many players to be in that squad. Now, that being said, we need to then talk about moving forward for Chelsea. Now, Thiago Silva is still going to be at this club next season, probably going to be his last season. It may be his last season as a player, and therefore, again, that was probably the last time we ever seen Thiago Silva play in a Champions League match, which, again, is quite sad to say and hard to believe, because he's had such a long, stellar career, but at some point it has to come to an end. But that being said, we need to look at the future of this club. Now, we need to figure out who's going to be the core system of this club. Now, I'm going to say Thiago Silva is still part of that, even though, again, being 39, going to be 40, I believe, next season. But if he's able to keep doing what he's doing, he will be a starter next season. Along with that, Wesley Fofana has to be next to him. Those 2 guys are, again, going to be the future of Chelsea. I could see Shield being the other player as well. We still need some time with that player. Wesley Fofana, if he can stay healthy, that will make a huge difference. In our midfield, we know that Conte's just got the extension, so he's going to be there along with Enzo. Those 2 guys in the midfield, again, are going to be massive. Now, I'm going to throw Reece James on the side there, because, yes, he will be part of this core system. I don't know where exactly he's going to be moving around. He'll most likely be in that right wing back. He could be a CB, or I could see him moving up into the midfield, possibly just changing a few things around, but he will also be part of that core. So that's already 6 players as of right now. Then Mason Mount, I think we still need to hold on to that player and keep sure that he stays at this club. Those players right there, again, are going to be a massive part of this club. Along with that, Conor Gallagher, of all the players, it was hard for me to say this, but I think he needs to stay at this club, because he's one of the only players right now, when I'm watching a game, gives 100%. Now, I'm not going to say it's the best 100% of all the players that we have, but he's one player that plays for the badge. And again, it makes sense why we're going to keep him as well. Now, along those lines, we're obviously going to keep Mudryk, knowing some of these other players that have just been recently signed. But those players I just mentioned have to be the core system, because, again, those players themselves are players that keep showing up and showing that they care for this club. And therefore, the players around them are going to start stepping up more and more. I probably should put Ben Chilwell in that category as well. I kind of forgot about him, but he's another player that's been playing well, extended his contract as well. And therefore, again, the back line should be pretty much set. It's the midfield and the attacking third that we really need to worry about. But if we can keep a good core system and bring in some players and obviously offload some players this summer, that will make a huge difference for Chelsea. Now, I have to say, Thiago Silva, you were correct on saying what you did, and I'm glad that you did say it, because someone had to say it. And again, it's been a massive issue with the changing room and everything, because the team is so big that there's different players that just don't feel like they're fitting in. And again, that creates this whole different scenario for players. And again, there's not this fluid gel-like system for all the players. And again, that makes it very difficult for the entire squad. So that being said, I'm looking forward to next season. Obviously, we still have 7 games left for this season, but pretty much a wash. So hopefully during the summer we can rebuild with the players that I just mentioned, and again bring in some players but also offload some players as well, and therefore again bring in our new management. Whoever that manager is going to be able to then dictate with these players what he wants, his philosophy, his tactics, and get this team going back in the right direction to hopefully get back into the Champions League. So that is all I have for you today. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe down below. I greatly appreciate that, and I will see you in our next